Hello, Southern California, and welcome to this week's edition of Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. He is the founder and president of Mosley Wealth Management, and I'm your host, Kristen Oakley. We've got a great show for you today. The reality is, folks, retirement has changed. For many people, no longer is it about just hanging up your hat and going and playing golf all day, although there's nothing wrong with that if that's the dream retirement you have. But for many folks, it's about finding a sense of purpose, activating new passions, and yes, for some, even continuing to work. There's a whole concept of semi-retirement that has emerged, and that's what we're going to be talking about today and what that could possibly mean for you. Tom, my friend, always excited to have these conversations with you. This is going to be a really fascinating one today.
Yeah, I'm amazed. You know, I read stats all the time about retirement, and I'm amazed that 43% of the people who are in their 70s still have a job, still are working, and it's not always because they need the money. We're going to talk about some of the financial aspects and some of the financial positives today in the show, but like I've got a friend, Steve, across the street, 4 doors down, you know, he's always out working on his lawn, and I saw him, this has been a year or so ago, and I saw him come by and he had on a nice tie and a shirt, and I said, "Steve, where are you going?" And he said, "Oh, I'm going to work." I said, "Steve, you're retired. You have a government pension. Your wife has a government pension. Why are you still working?" And he says, "Sometimes you got to go to work to save your marriage, you know." And he said, "Now that we're both home 24/7, 365 days a year, we just need to get out and do something." And he said, "I don't golf. I don't do those things." So he had taken a job over at the Nixon Library. He was a docent over there. Then I found out about a month ago from another person that was at one of my seminars. They said, "Oh yeah, I know Steve. He's in charge of all the docents over there."
Aww.
So that's the way he does it. But that's, you know, just a purpose.
Yes.
And you know, one of the things that we're not really going to talk about on this thing, but it gives you meaning. It gives you that solid, hey, I've got a place to get up and go to. I've got a purpose rather than just, you know, do I get up or do I not get up? And having a focus. That's the whole thing in life.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, there's so many financial benefits to continuing to work, either that's part-time or just doing something that you love, but there's a lot of psychological and emotional benefits too. So we have a whole list here of the benefits of semi-retirement, and we thought we would go through each one and just really have a nice open-ended conversation and what that might mean for you as our viewers. So let's first start with some financial benefits, shall we?
Let's jump into them.
Okay, so first up, this could help someone potentially delay your Social Security benefits, and that could in turn leave you with higher payouts. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. Leave it alone and it grows. It's an amazing thing. You know, if you leave that Social Security alone and not even leave it alone, but you actually add to it because you're still working. As long as you're going to be working, you're going to be paying into Social Security. Many times when we're putting together a financial plan, and what we're doing as advisors is we're looking for all of your options. And if still working, maybe still working at the place where you used to work, just trimming down to maybe 20 hours a week or 25 hours a week or 15 hours a week, or on a contract basis where you work for 6 weeks or 6 months and then you're off for 6 months. There are all kinds of options you could have, and it does amazing things for your Social Security. Number one, it might allow you to not draw your Social Security, because instead of drawing the Social Security, you're making enough money to make up for what you would be getting from Social Security. Number two, you're still earning money, so you're adding to your Social Security and you're growing your Social Security. I think it's really important that you understand, and I do this in the Social Security workshops. I pick a couple, and you can pretty much tell who's the couple out there, and I pick a couple and I give them them, for instance, when we're trying to talk about maximizing that breadwinner. Yes, maximizing the breadwinner, the one who's the biggest, has the biggest Social Security.
Right, yep.
So that it can continue to grow. And I say, now, if a year ago, you had turned on your Social Security and you had not turned on your Social Security, yours would have grown this past year 2.7% because you had already turned it on. But the person who did not turn it on would have grown 10.7%.
Wow.
Because it grows, because you haven't turned it on, an additional 8% or thereabout per year, plus the cost of living raise.
Right.
And when I say 2.7 if you've turned it on, 10.7 if you haven't turned it on, people begin to get the idea and the feel that, yes, if I wait, I don't get it for that year, but it's going to be significantly higher, the cost of living plus 8% if you turn it on a year later, 16% if you wait 2 years before you turn it on. So there can be some real advantages to working, supplying enough income through your income that you don't have to turn on your social, and then that social continues to grow so that when you eventually do turn it on, it's much higher. There's another big number.
Okay.
That number is 35 because what a lot of people, everybody says, I think, what isn't 40 the big number for Social Security? Well, 40 is the number of quarters you have to work to be able to earn Social Security, Medicare, and other things like that.
Which is 10 years, basically.
Which is 10 years, and it's crazy. People say, well, why do they call it quarters? I don't know.
Right.
I don't have any idea, because if you work in January and you earn $3,000 in January, you qualify for all 4 quarters for that year.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy, but Congress put it together, so we'll leave it at that and move on.
But 35.
35 is important because 35 is the number of years they count when determining your benefit, your top 35 earning years. Now, if you started work, say when you were 18, and you work 35 years, you say, well, that's no problem, that's 53. But a lot of people take off for different things. Some people take off to start a business. They don't really take off to start a business.
But they're not paying into Social Security,
they're not paying into Social Security, so they have a big fat zero.
Right.
And some ladies take off to have babies and to raise babies and to take those babies until they get to school age. And I know my wife did that. And she's got some big gaps in hers. So even though she's in her mid-60s, she is still working and earning Social Security. And you know what? She hasn't paid in 35 years yet. So every year she works, she takes off a zero and she puts in a number. So working can help your Social Security in delaying it, in growing it, and maybe even taking some of those zeros out so you qualify for a much bigger payout.
And this ties directly into the second benefit we wanted to talk about, which it can also help you reduce the drawdown of your other retirement savings. This is huge. Even just continuing to work part-time, working 1 or 2 more years full-time, that can have a significant impact on how much you accumulate, but also can help prevent that severe drawdown from occurring right at the beginning of your retirement.
Exactly. I mean, you've accumulated in generally a 401k or an IRA, and you've got your lumber yard and you've got it built up. And as I often say, when you walk out and you're in retirement, you are self-employed and your lumber yard is self-employing you. You're drawing from that lumber yard every single year to live. Well, if you are in semi-retirement and you have a job, just like delaying Social Security allows it to grow, by not drawing down from the lumber yard, you are allowing yourself to give it another year to grow without tapping it. That's one less year you're going to have to draw from it for the rest of your life. Who knows how long we're going to live? We don't know, but you're going to draw from it on a regular basis, but allowing it to stay in the market, to stay invested invested, and hopefully in a good year, allow it to continue to grow. God forbid if you retire and it's a down year and you're taking money out because you're taking more and more shares out to get the same amount of money. So you're really hurting yourself if you start drawing from your lumber yard, from your retirement savings in a down year. But if you just take a job and you're semi-retired, it can put off the drawdown on those retirement savings and make them last a lot longer.
And that can add some significant money to the pot for you to last you throughout the rest of your retirement. And this is why when you come in to work with the team of Moseley Wealth Management, they're going to have a very detailed conversation with you about structuring your income. Really, that's the first pillar of this complimentary retirement blueprint that you offer, right?
It is. You know, you need, instead of that lumberyard and just drawing down on it as you need money, you need not just to delay it by semi-retirement, but you need a written blueprint. A blueprint for your retirement that addresses your income and where it's going to come from. Sufficient income to last the rest of your life. Adjusted for inflation, because we don't know how many times you're going to get hit with inflation from now until the end of your life. Your investments usually need to be different when you're 65 and 75 than when you're 25 and 35. When you're 25 and 35, just let it grow. Who cares about a downturn? Great buying opportunity. But a downturn in retirement can really wreak havoc on your retirement savings, okay? So you need to watch your investments and know your risk score, your taxes, and how much that's going to draw down. Your health care, how you're going to pay for that, and your legacy, leaving it. Those 6 things are what we address when we build you your retirement blueprint. You need to call in. We have 5 offices in Encino, Arcadia, Ontario, Anaheim, and San Diego. Brand new, 4 times bigger office down in San Diego. It's beautiful right in Scripps Ranch. You need to come in and meet with one of our advisors. That's how we build your retirement blueprint. Don't call in and ask for one, because that's a blank piece of paper is where we start. We need to build with you your retirement blueprint.
Tom, thank you. To our viewers at home, if you would like to have this complimentary retirement blueprint built for you, all you need to do is reach out and call that number that you see on the bottom of your screen, 866-709-1462. Or if you'd rather connect online, if you simply pull out your smartphone, you can open up that camera app, just scan that QR code that you see there down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Moseley Wealth Management will reach out to connect with you to schedule your complimentary meeting that way as well. We've got a lot more financial benefits to cover regarding the subject of semi-retirement and what that could mean for you. Stay with us.
Welcome to Right on the Money Moment. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Tom Moseley of Moseley Wealth Management. And Tom, I have a very important question for you. The importance of proper holistic retirement planning. Why is that important to folks in the viewing audience today to plan properly for retirement?
It's a great question. A lot of people come in and they talk to us and I ask them, I said, do you have a financial plan? And they'll hand me a 401k statement, or they'll hand me a 403b statement or an IRA account. Now those accounts are great, don't get me wrong. That's like the lumberyard that you use and put together in a retirement blueprint to build a plan. But if you don't have a written plan, you're hoping things work out. If you've got all of your money left in the market like you did when you were 25, 30, 35, 40 years of age, that's where it should be. But if you've got all of your money left in the market in retirement, you've got hope as a plan. Hope the market doesn't go down. Hope I'm still able to draw money out. I have a group of friends that we travel with at least 1 week a year, and we go somewhere, and we're planning next year to go to Glacier. We've got our Airbnb. We've got what we're going to do each day. We've got a rental vehicle. We know where we're going to be, when we're going to be, and we've got it written down. If we want to alter what we do one day, guess what? You can alter it.
Yes.
But if you don't have the plan, you're just all over the place. You're hoping we're going to go up there, find a hotel, maybe we can get a rental car. If not, we might have to take Uber in Glacier. I don't know if that'll work. So you say, well, that's sort of silly. Well, it's sort of silly to go into a 20-year retirement and to spend less time preparing for it than you will on a 2-week vacation somewhere to Europe or maybe a 1-week vacation to Glacier. So it's really important that people have a written financial plan when they get to retirement.
Tom, thank you so much for such amazing advice. To our viewers at home, you need a plan. You heard it from Tom. Take care.
Welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and today Tom and I are talking all about this concept of semi-retirement, which is really redefining retirement for so many folks in their golden years, whether you're working part-time or continuing to work full-time, or simply easing out of the workforce, easing into the life of your dreams, as we like to say here, right? This is really redefining what these golden years look like for folks, and there's several financial benefits to engaging in semi-retirement. And during the break, we were talking about my good friends, Nancy and Sandy. Sandy's the husband. He's 70 years old. The wife, Nancy, is 65. And he's still working full time. He loves what he does, but he was so happy to finally turn on his Social Security check. And of course, when he turned it on, it was the highest amount he could possibly receive because he was still working and was able to wait. And now they have this additional stream of income. And it's great because we're going to get to go on a fabulous vacation with them. And it's all paid for thanks to Social Security.
Right.
So there's lots of benefits to continuing to work.
No, there really are. And just like everything that we talk about on this show, it almost 100% of the time comes back down to your situation is different than anyone else's. That's why we can't mass produce retirement blueprints. You have to have yours built based on your particular situation, your needs. Some of you are out there saying, I don't want to work when I'm 70. Okay, fine, that's you. This guy does, your friend does, Sandy does, and it's benefiting him in a really big way. And not working will really benefit you in a really big way, because nobody wants to be a part of working and being involved and having to get up and go to work every day if it's driving you down, destroying you emotionally, tearing you down mentally and every other way. So your situation is different. That's why we start with the blank piece of paper.
For sure. Well, moving on our list of financial benefits of engaging in semi-retirement, this is a huge one for a lot of people, maintaining employer benefits. And I know a huge piece of that is health care coverage.
Yeah, a lot of people come to us and they come to us with the traditional question, can I retire? You know, and really what that means is, can I afford to retire? It means, do I have enough income to retire? And will I run out of income when I'm in my 80s? All of those are really the stem of just, can I retire? And so we begin to look at that and we say, you're 62. If you retire right now, you're on the short end of the stick on a lot of things. You're on the short end of the stick in Social Security, in that if you need Social Security to survive, then your benefits are going to be the lowest they possibly can be at 62 if you need to turn those on. Number two, your benefits like health care. If you retire at 62 and you say, oh, but yeah, my wife is 59 or my husband is 62 as well. That means you're going to have to foot your own health care bill for the next 3 years or so until you get to Medicare. So you're on the short end of the stick when it comes to Medicare. And many times if people still do have a pension, that pension is set to kick in at 65. So you don't even have the pension for the next 3 years. So there's a bridge there that you've got to span so that you can get to retirement. So employee benefits are a real big important thing in that they could pay for your health care by working 2 or 3 more years. One of the winningest football coaches in Orange County history was at Valencia High School. And I remember he talked to me one time and he says, what does health care cost for people who are 62 and 63 years of age? And when I told him what they cost, it's over $1,000 a month for the normal policy. He said, I'm going to coach for 2 or 3 more years. I'm not going to retire. And he ended up winning his 300th game,
Wow.
became the second winningest coach in the history of Orange County high school football. And I always told him every time I saw him, I'm responsible for that because I told you to keep working. And
Right.
he just smiles, you know.
Right.
So that's again, that's where talking to a financial advisor who's going to take it from the 20,000 foot level. I mean, you're in the weeds, you're in the forest down there, and you can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. You just want to retire. But letting somebody who's retired literally with thousands of people and help build a plan for them and making sure that you're addressing all the issues, it's really important.
It is really important. Well, the next item on our list that we're going to talk about is tax efficiency. And this is really interesting, Tom, because we know that when you control your income, you are able to control your potential tax liability. So how does this concept of semi-retirement enable folks to create greater tax efficiency potentially throughout their full financial plan?
Let me give you a for instance on that. We recently had a guy who came in with his wife, and they were both making over $200,000 a year. They were 62 years old, and they were trying to decide, do they retire in 1 year, or do they maybe work 3 more years? And one of the defining factors and the factors that made the difference in what they decided to do was I pointed out to them that if they would take a part-time job when they're 63 and 64, that would lower their income, lower their taxable income. You say, what difference would that make? When you get to Medicare at 65, you pay an extra premium if you have large income sums.
Yes.
But it's large income sums for 2 years prior. So if when you're 63, here's something you need to know. If you're headed toward retirement and you're thinking, well, I'm going to work right up till I'm 65, I'm going to retire at 65, and I'm not going to pay that much for Medicare, you may be paying as much as $559 a month, $600 a month extra each for Part A, or excuse me, for Part B in retirement, and you may be paying as much as $80 or $85 a month for Part D in retirement because you made so much, not now, but 2 years earlier when you were 63. So there's all kind of little loopholes from a tax status, from a tax standpoint that you need to be aware of so you can say, I don't want to push myself into that higher bracket because that is a lot of money to be paying. It's IRMA, it's the Medicare tax, and it will hit you not for what you're making when you're 65, but what you made when you were 63 and 64.
Well, I know one of the things you are so passionate about helping folks do is helping them not pay any more to the IRS than you are legally required to pay in taxes. And there's an awesome tax tool that the team of Mosley Wealth Management has created for you that you can use completely complimentary. We're going to put the website here up on the screen. If you visit 𝗬𝗎𝑚ytaxbill.com or click on that QR code, you're going to be taken to this tax tool calculator that will literally show someone their potential tax liability in retirement. Why don't you briefly just share with our viewers how that ties into our conversation today?
Well, you're going to punch in your name, you're going to punch in your amount, you're going to punch in your marginal tax bracket, and it's going to show you what you're going to pay if you pay everything out according to the government's plan, what you're going to pay according to their plan for you. It will also show you how much if you are proactive and don't just wait for your required minimum distributions at age 73 or eventually age 75. If you are proactive and you get your own tax plan, how much you could potentially save in taxes. It's astounding how much you can save. You go on there, you'll find out your numbers in just a matter of a couple of minutes.
And I'm confident that once you see your numbers, you are definitely going to want to pick up the phone and contact the team of Mosley Wealth Management to have them build a blueprint for you to figure out how you can create greater tax efficiency throughout your full financial plan. Again, that number to call to schedule your complimentary meeting is 866-709-1462, or you're also welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We'll continue our conversation on the benefits of enjoying semi-retirement right after this.
You've got quite an extensive resume. Wow, so many years of management. Bet that was fun. So this job requires basic knowledge of the social media and video platforms, content creation, and SEO. How proficient are you in those areas?
Going back to work after retiring is not ideal. I'm Tom Mosley with Mosley Wealth Management. If you have amassed a nest egg, it's time for a financial advisor to help you reach your retirement goals. This is one of the greatest tax windows in history. Now is the time to take advantage of this tax discount while you can. We specialize in retirement planning, tax mitigation, estate planning, and much more. Plan your retirement right. Call now for your portfolio review and tax analysis. Did you ever think your own retirement will be shared with our government? It's true. Your 401k, IRA, pension, or similar retirement accounts are in partnership with Uncle Sam. Simply put, they want their tax dollars and you have them. With our latest tax calculator, you can plug in your own number while sitting at home. To find out what your future tax liability may be, scan the QR code or go to 𝗬𝗎𝑚ytaxbill.com.
Welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm Kristen Oakley, and today Tom and I have been discussing several of the benefits that come with engaging in semi-retirement. And really, this is redefining so many folks' golden years. We've talked, Tom, a lot on today's show already about the financial benefits. There's some other benefits as well. There's psychological benefits, emotional benefits. And so the next one on our list is the flexibility to pursue passion projects with financial cushion. Talk about that.
I've had people tell me repeatedly in the 30 years I've done this, they've said, you know, I worked for 40 years doing things I didn't necessarily really want to do, but I needed a paycheck. Now I want to do something that I want to do. And they get involved in something and they're passionate about it. It could be a charity. It could be a nonprofit. It could be some kind of cause. You know, there's no limit. It could just be another job that it's something you really want to do. I know one lady started a floral shop, you know, and oh my goodness, she's busy at Mother's Day and Valentine's Day and the traditional flower days, but she loves it. And she just absolutely loves it. So just doing something that you really love to do, and that fits in with the sixth one that we were going to mention today too, and that is so many times you walk out of work and you actually spend sometimes more time with the people that you work with right now than you do your own family. And some of those relationships are closer to you than relationships within your own family. I don't know if that's good or bad, it's just reality. And that social web, that social network, so many people just are sitting at home and they have no one to talk to. They have, you know, the family doesn't come, and the social network, you know, maybe they're reaching ages where they're not able to get together, and people really miss that aspect of work. And I've had people go back to work at home improvement stores, and I've had them go back to work in floral shops, and just go back to work in almost any way. What's your situation? None of that has to do with your finances or having money. If you're not happy, then you're not going to be happy. So you need to do something to keep yourself involved, happy, and passionate, something that your life still has purpose even in retirement. Make sure you find it. Make sure you're working with somebody who pushes you to find your purpose.
Tom, thank you so much. That's such encouraging words for all of us to remember, and especially those of you watching. And again, you don't have to go it alone. The team at Mosley Wealth Management is here to walk you through your own retirement situation and semi-retirement for you. 866-709-1462. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.